Now, knowing you, I know that you're aware of the things that people are saying. You're moving up in two-weight classes. You're the smaller man. Whatever you do, Terence Crawford, don't exchange against them. What do you feel you have to do?
Be myself. I'm 41-0 for a reason.
See you tonight.
Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career.
Won for over 2 decades, everyone believed Floyd Mayweather's 50-0 record could never be challenged. He was the ghost in the ring, a defensive genius who made legends look ordinary. But one historic night changed everything. A single explosive statement from the only man to face both Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez threatened to shake that entire legacy. The debate was no longer just about who was better. It was about whether Floyd's era had been eclipsed. The firestorm began the moment Terence Crawford's hand was raised. After his stunning victory over Canelo Alvarez, a fight many believed he couldn't win.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, masterful fight.
The real shock came in the post-fight press conference. When asked to compare Crawford to his former opponent Mayweather, Canelo didn't hesitate. With the world's media hanging on his every word, he said it plainly.
If you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
From the only fighter to ever share the ring with both men. This wasn't just an opinion. It was a bombshell that sent shockwaves through the sport. That single sentence reignited a debate that had been building for years. Sports analyst Stephen A. Smith quickly joined the conversation. He, like many others, expected Crawford to stay outside and outbox the bigger, stronger Canelo. But that's not what happened.
Well, I appreciate Crawford. My prediction comes through. Coming into the fight, winning by decision. I thought he was a superior boxer. I thought he would be able to take a punch. As long as he didn't stay there and exchange with Canelo, I thought he could do it. What surprised me is that there were times during the fight, he did stand there and exchange with Canelo and took it. Took some body shots to the liver. Some headshot. Exchange. And still ended up winning this fight. Or eight went on. He just put on a boxing. Like
For Smith was stunned that Crawford didn't just survive, went toe-to-toe with Canelo. He stood in the fire and proved he had more than skill. He had grit. As Smith explained, what I didn't expect was for him to stand in there, exchange punches, and survive. And he did that several times. Smith even scored the fight 5-4 for Crawford after 9 rounds. Before Crawford dominated the final 3, he absorbed Canelo's power and fired back, winning moments where most smaller fighters would have broken down.
Crawford's a special fighter. He's got a mean streak. He doesn't back up from anything. He's usually the superior person in the ring. He finds a way to win. No matter who he's going up against, no matter what power you have, what boxing skills you have, he is truly a generational fighter. He wants to go in the ring and not just beat you, but show you he was a best man. He's wonderful. Just a knockout does that. He likes missing you and showing you his skill level superior to yours.
Smith praised it as a masterclass. But while deeply impressed, he wasn't ready to dethrone Mayweather just yet, because he remembered a different kind of Monstera phantom in the ring, something Crawford, for all his toughness.
Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly broke his hand.
Yeah.
He would go into a ring knowing he had no shot at knocking somebody out because his hands were hurt too much, and literally walked in the ring and said, I'm going to embarrass you and humiliate you by showing the world you can't hit me.
this was where Stephen A. Smith drew the line. He reminded everyone that Mayweather was a defensive magician, a fighter whose main goal was to win without being hit. With brittle hands that plagued him in the second half of his career, Floyd couldn't rely on knockout power. This wasn't speculation, it was fact. *****7 Mayweather himself admitted his hands were brittle, even revealing he couldn't spar for a month before his
looks me in my face and he says, I'm gonna take him out about the 8th or 9th round. And I said, your hand's always broken. You ain't known for your punching power since you moved up from lightweight to welterweight. Why are you so sure you're gonna do this? He said, Stephen A., he's a UFC fighter. He said, and he's a striker. He's accustomed to coming at you and throwing punches. What he's not accustomed to doing is punching while he's throwing backwards, while he's moving backwards and pushing you off of him. He says, I'm gonna walk right into him and stay at his chest. He's gonna have to push me off in order to throw his punches. He said he's gonna be circling the ring. He said by around 4 or 5, he's not gonna have any legs. He's gonna be done. And he said, and I'll just toy with him and keep him around until around the 8th or the 9th round. And that is exactly what Floyd Money Mayweather did. He told me exactly what he was gonna do, and he did it.
He's the man.
Adding more controversy. Reports suggested that in the later part of his career, Floyd mostly fought in Las Vegas, only of the few places that allowed numbing injection.
You heard your hand? Huh? I thought you heard your hand at myself. Okay, all right. Relax, baby, the job is done. All right.
Put in a bucket of ice, man. Yeah, get a bucket of ice. Chilling.
I'm saying Shane hit me with a hell of a shot. Okay. Actually, 2 shots. Oh, okay. But even in that particular round, what I said to Shane was this. I was like,
you just said something to him when you grabbed him.
I said, you gotta kill me.
Oh shit. I wasn't ready, bro.
I said that was a good one. I said that was a good one, but you gotta kill me. So you gotta kill me. And did I mean I'm not gonna lie. I meant it.
Trainer Greg Hackett echoed this, saying the version of Floyd who fought Canelo was a complete fighter with a flawless style, very different from Crawford's wilder approach. ***10 in Stephen A.'s words, Crawford took big punches from Canelo and proved his chin. But to Smith, the very fact that he had to prove it was what separated.
Rocky Marciano was 49-0. Before Floyd got to 50-0, he was a heavyweight champ. Did anyone ever consider Rocky Marciano the GOAT? No, not seriously, no. Why would Floyd be considered the GOAT? Because he beat more fighters than Rocky did, more great ones? That's true. But really, Floyd was careful in the way he selected opponents. Don't get that twist. It's not that Floyd didn't fight a lot of great fighters. He did. It's not that I don't think he would have beaten a lot of the tougher fighters than he fought. I think he probably would have, but he didn't do it. He waited. He waited till Pacquiao wasn't at his best anymore. He didn't fight Margarito when Margarito was tearing everyone up. He waited for the right time to fight people. He got paid twice as much for fighting Pacquiao in a less dangerous fight than he would have had he fought him when everyone wanted to see him fight. Floyd is among the all-time greats, but
before the debate could grow any hotter, some pointed out a simpler truth. The two fighters belonged to different times. Crawford himself admitted this with respect, saying, Floyd is the best.
Because I don't know what he felt. But when I heard that, what I think is, when Floyd beat me, I was 23, I wasn't polished. When Bud beat me, I was the man. I was the man. And he beat me fair and square. He beat me at my game and he beat me at his game. That's why Canelo said that. Do I believe that? It's tough to believe. But I can only take Canelo's word. Because he's the man that's been in the ring with both of them. But I understand why he said it. I was a kid when I fought Floyd. He wasn't a kid, literally, but he was young. He was young. There was a lot he didn't know. There was a lot he didn't understand about boxing that he later on learned and got better. But Bud beat the better version of me, even though it's the ran down version. I'm saying that because it is some wear and tear there with Canelo. I've been saying it the whole time. When a guy got almost 70 fights in current time, with all those big camps he's been doing and all that, trust me, it's some wear and tear there. I'm not making excuses for Canelo. I'm just saying.
I don't know. That's what it gives it that air.
I also think you got to remember when you talking about a Mexican fighter, they big on punishment. He might also feel Crawford punches harder than Floyd and took more chances than Floyd took. Floyd really was super speed that night. Everything speed. And it irritated Canelo because Canelo couldn't do what he wanted to do. And he looked nothing like himself. like I said, I think it was just times where Canelo felt like, damn, I could have had him. With Floyd, I think he felt like paralyzed. Like, damn, I can't catch this motherfucker. He too fast. But with Crawford, I felt like he maybe was saying, damn, I could have, if I would have threw this or if I would have did that. You know what I mean? Because it was times Crawford sat there and caught a punch and countered back. You know what I'm saying? He let Canelo throw. Like, go ahead, throw your shit. He caught that shit, boom, and come right back with the hook. Same shot he caught Earl with. He was touching Canelo with some of that same shit, man. And it was just like, and it was times where Crawford was imposing himself on Canelo. He was stepping to Canelo at times. He didn't do it the whole fight, but I'm just saying it was times he stepped to him. Floyd did too, but Floyd just was so fast, so much faster. And the education was like totally different. Like when Canelo fought Floyd, Canelo was in middle school. He wasn't even, you know what I'm saying? Floyd by that time was already a Harvard graduate. You know what I'm saying? So
I think that Floyd Mayweather was such a magician defensively. And we have to look at Floyd Money Mayweather in this regard. Once he moved up to welterweight, his hands were always damaged. So he kind of knew he wasn't going to be able to knock you out with a most part. And still, he walked into the ring and put on masterful performances because he was so superior, skill-wise and defensively. Can't say enough. Tonight with Crawford, for example, we saw him take a punch on several occasions. With Floyd, we didn't see that too often.
Perspective adds balance. Greatness isn't a single lineup, it belongs to the era a fighter dominates. Even Floyd's uncle, Jeff Mayweather, pointed out that Floyd was already 36 and past his prime when he fought a young Canelo. Comparing that to Crawford's win over a seasoned Canelo isn't easy or fair.
He just got something that I want.
And it's not just the title, it's what else?
It's everything. He got everything. And I'm coming to get it.
When you beat him, you'll have everything?
That's right.
The argument is less about who would win head-to-head and more about two kings, ruling different eras of boxing.
Well, also, if we remember, Canelo at that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23? 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
a man that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people.
How are you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime. You ain't in your prime when you're at 36.
One fact cannot be ignored. Terence Crawford holds an achievement that Floyd Mayweather never touched.
We've had a lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in a fight between Terence and Floyd, and I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that
yes,
fight.
Yes, sir. I love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah,
yes. he's a chess master.
Yeah, his IQ in that
The
shit
funny
is
thing
crazy.
about it is Terence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
But you gotta have an OG somewhere.
Anybody else? Yeah.
There's an OG
Somebody got a pioneer. Like, yeah, you got it.
There's an OG you can't out-figure out somewhere. And I just believe Floyd is that OG you can't out-figure out.